evening. I'm Julian Reed, and welcome as the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas continues to pay homage to the one and only Darold David Miller. Darold, a veteran broadcaster, tons of experience, iconic, outstanding in his delivery, and an impact that will be long-lasting for years to come in this wonderful Bahamas of ours, which he loved so much. Now, as we start off this broadcast, and you're going to hear hopefully some different aspects and perspectives of Darold's life and his experiences with people as we move on throughout this hour. But tonight we're starting off with someone who was really close to him and a special part of his heart, his son, Darold Miller, Jr.
Yes. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Good evening, and thank you for coming here. I know this is not an easy time for you.
Yes.
But I want you to tell us some experiences you've had with your dad over the years.
Well, when I was growing up, we used to travel a lot. Cleveland, Ohio, and we used to go all over the places, catch Greyhound buses and go on road trips and all of that. So we had a lot of travel experience and exposure.
Now,
as a family.
Everyone knows his on-screen persona, and they also know him in real life in some ways. But was he very different with you?
Well, he never beat me, believe it or not. Never beat me, because I never used to do much bad stuff, you know, to get beaten like that. But I never got beaten from him. I always was a humble, good child. Yep.
What kinds of things did you two do together outside of travel? I know that you're now based in Andros.
Yeah, I'm based in Andros.
And I know Andros was a very special place to him too. So did you do a lot of excursions to Andros and spend good times there?
Yeah, he always traveled there all the time, and we go. I wanted to take him out crabbing, but I let him drive the vehicle, and I would stop and I would catch the crab and put it inside the barrel. So
wait, now you're telling me that Darold never went crabbing on his own?
No,
What?
Actually, he's allergic to the crab, to shell, any type of shell foods and land crab. He's allergic to it. Believe it or not, yeah.
What kind of things did he teach you as you were? Let's go back to when you were a child. I mean, what's like your earliest memory of your father?
Well, my earliest memories was like we just did a lot together. You know, we did a lot.
And you were raised in Nassau or between here and another
I grew
island?
up in Nassau. So for me, adapting to the island was kind of like getting adjusted, but I kind of blended in like I always was from there.
Okay, great.
I adapt very easily.
Do you remember your first trip with him?
My first trip was like, we went to, that was Las Vegas, and we went to, there's a park called Cedar Park with the go-karts. That's what we did that together too.
Now, everyone in the Bahamas knows who Darold Miller is. When did you realize that your father was this big presence, not in print, on radio, and on television? When did that dawn to you?
Well,
when did that come to you?
That came to me a long time ago. Like, everywhere we go, everybody, Darold Miller live. Everywhere we go, it's like we have to stop for hours and everybody keep talking and keep holding us up. So I was kind of delighted by that.
Oh, so you
I loved it.
You weren't offended by it because you're sharing your time with everybody else, with the whole country.
So it kind of brought me close together, you know, to know a lot of people and get to meet a lot of people through him.
And you got a love through that too.
Yep, I got a lot of love through that, yep.
Well, you know, I knew Darold quite well, and your uncle is here now, whom I know even better, Philip Miller, and good to have you on the show. Condolences to you too.
Thank you very much.
I sent them to both your son and to you. Now, I'm going to let you know, because Wendell Jones, excuse me, the current ambassador to the United States for the Bahamas, I think grew up not far from you all, right?
Yes.
In the same area.
Yes.
And he said that he knew Darold from he was about 6 and always realized that he was a gifted man.
Yes.
Gifted young boy. Now, he's your younger brother, right?
Darold is, yes.
Yeah, how many years between you?
4.
Okay.
4.
And
So-
now we know that you're a bright man. I mean, I can say this because you were a lecturer at university before it was the University of the Bahamas. But when did you see something special in your brother?
You know, way back when Darold might have been in Form 2, Darold wrote a play. I think the teachers asked them all to perhaps write a play. And Darold wrote a play, and it was so good in his class that it was done before the whole school. I mean, it was amazing. It was a play about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Oh.
And people like Matthew Rose was the snake in that play.
Oh, he actually cast the characters and everything?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's when I realized he had a special talent. He had this flair.
A dramatic flair.
For the dramatics. Yeah.
Well, you know, Darold definitely had something special about him and took this craft very seriously.
Yep.
What kinds of things did you share growing up as brothers?
Well, Darold really was the life of the party in our house. He was the youngest one. He had all the jokes. He loved to dance. And, you know, with the older brothers, he would like to wrestle with us and fight. And he wants to bring himself out to the forefront. And he was just funny. Darold was amusing. My mother used to be very amused by his antics.
Good. Now the family moved here from Acklands or from
Crooked Island.
From Crooked Island.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But there were a lot of Crooked Island, Acklands people in the area you were living in.
Area, right? Yes, because Jones and those were up the street.
Right.
And the roads were all rocky then, and so we would travel along these roads and play softball and cricket. You know, the game of cricket called Waking for Where You Living? Or you don't know about that?
No, I think that's a little bit of the family. So he went through high school, and of course you were ahead, and you of course, are an agriculturalist.
Yes.
Yeah, so I understand the story goes that your mother took him to Nassau Guardian.
Yes. Yeah.
And it just started from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously, having been a playwright at such a young age, you could tell that he had this gift for writing and for talking.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
What are some of your favorite memories of him?
Of Darold?
Yeah. Not even as a child. I'm talking now as an adult, when the two of you became men.
Yeah. Well, everybody likes to talk about the fire. You know that fire? But you wouldn't believe, I might not be answering your question, but I was not in the Bahamas at that time. I was in Santo Domingo. Okay. And they brought this newspaper in the morning, and on the front page is this building ablaze. And I said, that's my country. I tell the fella, that's my country. You know, but I was not here for this fire that everybody talks about. Where's the water?
That's one of the infamous incidents with Darold.
It's still dramatic.
Well, listen, we're going to have to take a very quick break right now, but we'll be back. We're speaking with Darold Miller Jr., Darold's son, and Philip Miller, his older brother. Stay with us.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
By JBI.
I so love your products. Your kidney beans, they're rich and authentic. I love the coconut taste. I love the coconut smell. I use it for my rice all the time. Every Sunday, it's my Sunday's product.
Guess what? This is all we use. We love the pigeon peas and coconut milk. We love the red kidney beans and coconut milk. Peas and rice, that's the only thing that we use. Thank you so much for being here.
I must say, out of the many products that they have, this has to be my favorite one. It's very refreshing, and it would be my first choice of drink.
Try JBI.
Happy 30th anniversary, JBI.
Happy anniversary, JBI.
Congratulations, JBI, on your 30th anniversary of being in the Bahamas.
Happy 30th anniversary, JBI.
Thank you, Bahamas.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Welcome back. Of course, Darold Miller had a huge impact throughout this country in various media houses here and also in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Now, he's been here. He had a long history here at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, and joining us is someone who knew him way back then, I guess, Carlton Smith, who is now the General Manager of IRCA. Welcome, Carlton.
Thank you. Well, good to be here. Not under these circumstances, but it's good to be here. But I'm happy to have the opportunity to just say a few words about Darold.
Absolutely. Can you remember the first time you met him?
Yes, I do. 1981. I recently joined the Broadcasting Corporation, and on a visit to Nassau, I was working in Grand Bahama at the time. I was hired in Grand Bahama. I met the great Darold Miller.
So his reputation preceded it.
Yes. And, you know, they give you the lecture as part of the induction into the organization. And, you know, Darold had many stories, many newsroom stories, many experiences that he would have had. And he used the opportunity to make sure that as a young journalist coming into the Broadcasting Corporation, he would ensure that I understood how you are acclimatized to the organization.
Mm-hmm. So what was the temperature like in the newsroom in those days?
Well, I didn't work for a long period in Nassau. In fact, at that point, I was working in Grand Bahama. Mm-hmm. And I just came for a visit to Nassau because I was doing an assignment in Nassau. I was working in sports at the time, and if you know, Darold started out as a sports reporter with the Nassau Guardian.
Absolutely.
And he told me about his experience as a sports reporter before transitioning into news. And fate would have it that I would follow that same path. I moved out of sports and into news. And it was really, Darold and I really developed a much closer relationship when he came back to the Broadcasting Corporation after a period with Jones Communications. And he came back to become the Deputy General Manager of News and Current Affairs in Nassau. And he had responsibility for the news department throughout the corporation, inclusive of Grand Bahama. And I was responsible for the news department in Freeport. And so it required me to communicate more frequently with him, and we built a rapport. So much so that in 2003, when the corporation was restructuring its leadership team, Darold was offered the position of Deputy General Manager of the Parliamentary Channel because of his comprehensive knowledge of the parliamentary system in the Bahamas, and having worked in the Parliament for a period of time as a journalist. They thought that he would be the right fit because they wanted to bring live programming from the Parliament, and Darold would have been probably the most knowledgeable of all the journalists at the time.
And who better?
Right.
Our general manager here and the executive chairman, Picewell Forbes and Clint Watson, They paid special tribute to Darold, and let's listen to what they're saying now. We will bring those comments to you in a minute. We're having just a slight difficulty with it. When you think of broadcasters today, Carlton, right? And you think of someone like a Darold Miller, I mean, there's a big difference in the way reporting is done, the way we carry it, the whole ethic, work ethic. Speak to that for us, please.
Darold was not a reporter. Darold was a journalist. Many people look at the flamboyance of Darold Miller and try to define him through that lens. Darold was probably one of the most knowledgeable, fearless journalists this country has ever had. He was not afraid to ask the difficult, challenging questions.
Actually, you could expect him to ask those difficult questions.
Right. And he was never disrespectful to his guests, but he made sure that he was prepared. Darold knew what the issues were in the country, and he made sure that he stayed on top of the issues, so that when the opportunity came for him to conduct his interviews, he could speak about any issue based on the knowledge that he had acquired over the years in journalism, and fully aware of what the current issues are, and to be able to contextualize that and reference the historical issues that may be related to that in any way. And so he took pride in the opportunity to educate and enlighten the Bahamian public. One of the things that I always admired about Darold Miller, you know, a lot of people look at Darold and say, Darold was this, Darold was that. Darold was a deeply spiritual man, deeply.
Absolutely.
Deeply spiritual man. Darold, you know, Darold's mom always said to me, Carlton, I pray for Darold every day. But Darold never started a show, a talk show, without recognizing the need for him to connect with his creator before he began that show.
And what struck me actually, Philip, when you said that the first thing he did was write this play about Adam and Eve, a biblical situation, yeah.
But I want to add to something that both of you have said about Darold not being afraid. So there I am working in the Prime Minister's office, sitting in my office doing my own business, and the staff comes in to me and they say to me, you know, Darold is working at Jones Communication. They say, Mr. Miller, you must come and hear this. The Prime Minister, which is Mr. Ingram, the Prime Minister and Darold are rowing on the radio. And I say, but they can't be rowing on the radio. They say, yes. So I get up and I go and I listen. I listen. I said, they're not rowing. They're having a great time. The Prime Minister just loves the challenge, and Darold just loves the punch.
And he had the facts, and he had the facts.
Yes.
No, that's great, What advice, and he gave lots of advice to journalists, and I remember several things about him that, you know, over the years you realize really were things that you should actually follow if you intended to reach the kind of level that he was at, right? But what advice you think he would give to younger journalists? I don't know if he actually gave much of that in his last days openly. He may have done it one-on-one, but what do you think he would tell younger journalists today, younger reporters?
So let me just say this. LaDon Davis, who's one of the anchors of ZNS News now,
right,
was a recruit of Darold Miller.
Yes, he brought her in.
He was in charge of the parliamentary channel.
I remember that.
He brought her in to be a clerk in his area in the parliamentary channel. She eventually migrated into news, And the evidence is there that whatever Darold instilled in her in those formative years has now blossomed into what she has become at the Broadcasting Corporation today.
Oh, you see real growth in her, yes. Of course.
She has really grown, and she's come into her own, and that's because somebody gave her the opportunity. Somebody saw the talent that the potential that she had, not the talent, the potential that she had.
And that was some 20 years ago.
Recognizing that potential gave her the opportunity to join this organization, and that somebody is Darold Miller. I remember when we were starting The Guardian, one of the conditions of my employment as the station manager of The Guardian, after they offered me the job, they said to me in a meeting in the boardroom, "Can you bring Darold Miller?" And I boldly said yes. I know Darold, I said, Darold will make it very difficult for me. But, you know, I called Darold. I said, I got his mom. I didn't know how to reach him in Turks. Ms. Miller said, I got to call his sister. And she got the number to me. I called Darold. Darold told me he was coming for the general elections in 2012, and then he has to go back. And I said to Darold, you can't do that. You can't come for that short period. They want you. I said, they will make it worth your while. Darold agreed to come. And we built that station on the name of Darold Miller. We did a major ad with Darold and Dwight Strawn as the two key
I remember that vividly.
Premier talk show hosts for the Guardian. But I always recall the first day we went on the air and Darold did his first show. By the time he finished that show, there was not even standing room outside the Guardian. Everybody waiting to welcome Darold Miller back to the Bahamas.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's how hugely popular he was.
Let's hear from another one of his former colleagues who's now retired, Stanley Pinder. Let's hear what he has to say in memory of Darold Miller.
We had a void there for a host for immediate response show. And, you know, we don't like to get beat. Other stations were, at that point, moving forward, Guardian, Jones and station, stuff like that. So we wanted to fill that void. As I said, our host had left, contract had finished. Darold, we knew, always loved ZNS. So, as I said, our people went through and management decided to look that direction. You know, everybody loved Darold. Darold knew the country. He knew every area of the country. He knew the people, and he had his fingers on the beat of whatever was going on in the country. So that brought that excitement back to ZNS. Now you could call in Auckland. He knew people in Auckland. He knew people in Inagua, and he knew what they were feeling. And so that's what made that personal. He had that personal contact with people. I don't know if you remember, ZNS started with a radio program called Action Line. It wasn't a call-in show, it was Action Line show. It was hosted by Charles Carter, Kelsey Johnson, Ed Bettle, and so on. That was for that time. When Darold came in, he came with this more modern communication was there. So he was able to reach and interact with more people and go into this more dialogue. You know how you all do it now. And so when he came in with the new modern telephones and everything, people calling, which added to the show.
Stanley Pinder, who's now retired from the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more talking about the great Darold Miller, along with Philip Miller and Carlton Smith. Stay with us.
I like reggae scrape. I like John Cano. Oh, get up, collect.
what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs.
Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
Hardware is the helpful place. Everything you need under one roof, from electrical, paint, plumbing, outdoor, barbecue, automotive, lawn and garden, pet supply, houseware, and seasons. Hurricane season is now here, so for all your hurricane needs, we have a 25% off bargain zone.
Hey, thanks. I would have given more stuff, but I didn't bring my money. I thought this was a club, and I thought everything was free. Finally know what it is now. Ace.
We're located on St. Albans Drive, West Bay Street. Open Monday to Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and closed for lunch 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Welcome back. Darold Miller was a true mentor. He believed in encouraging younger reporters, giving them opportunities, and letting them flourish. Of course, we spoke about LaDawn Davis, but I can name a few others. Candia Dames, Tamika Lundy, several others. He gave me lots of opportunities and had confidence in me. You know, the one thing I always will remember and appreciate of him is that he says, you know, if you're going to hit this anchor desk, you need to, first of all, know this country. You need to go. So when they talk about Coburn Town, you didn't know what it is because you've been there. You know, how did you see your brother giving mentorship to others in his life beyond broadcasting?
Well, I think that Darold had a natural knack for telling people everything that he knew. You see, he just wanted you to know everything that he knew. And as we were growing up, he would, whatever new thing that he has learned, he wanted to transmit it. Yeah, he wanted to share it. So I think that spilled over into his professional life. He wants you to be as good as him, you know.
And that's a unique talent. You don't find that too often. What would you call them?
Well, Darold was more than just a mentor. Darold was a friend. Darold was a friend to all of the people he mentored. Candia Dames tells some stories about Darold and his leadership of the news department at Love 97 that has left an indelible imprint on their lives, you know. Darold was a coach and a mentor, and he took nothing. He did not accept excuses for not getting the job done. You had to have a legitimate reason for Darold, you know. And so when he came to the Broadcasting Corporation, he had the same attitude. He wanted the best out of the people who worked with him, and he would not settle for mediocrity.
That's true. Well, we're going to hear from someone who came up under his wing, and I know he is very proud of the heights to which he has reached right now, and she is Keishla Smith, who currently serves as press secretary in the office of the Prime Minister.
My first encounter with Darold Miller was actually my first day on the job at Love 97 Radio. I walked into the building on East Street there before news time, which was sometime before 8 o'clock in the morning. And I sort of met Darold Miller, who was, you know, moving up and down his office with scripts in his hand, getting ready for the 8 o'clock news. You could tell right away that he was a larger-than-life personality. He was, you know, excited and ready to go. The same person the people experience on the radio is the same Darold Miller. So that was really my first encounter. And it really proved to be, true to the person that I knew him to be. He loved the news more than anybody I think I've ever met. He was always excited about it. He wanted to be the first. He wanted his news to be the latest news. And he was always on top of things. And that was the Darold Miller that I met. Younger journalists have learned from someone like Darold. One thing that I could definitely say about him is that he was someone who was interested in mentoring people. And I think there are several journalists, myself included, who are the better because of it. He was someone who was always willing to share what he knew. He was willing to share contacts. He was willing to introduce you to the people that you needed to know to get the news. He was interested in sharing his techniques and news gathering experience. He didn't leave you out of anything. Anything that he knew professionally, he was willing to share with you. And I think that anyone who worked with him could attest to that. He often said, and people who worked with him would know that you've got to have a nose for news. You got to have contacts. You got to have this. He was always insisting on what the tools were that you needed to get the job done. So I would really say that younger journalists have benefited from him. His excitement, his zeal for news, his zeal for investigating all angles of the story. I think that's a legacy that he has actually left.
And one of the joys of life is that you're never too old to learn. Now, Margaret McKay, Margaret Elizabeth can attest to that. She had a full career in financial services before she entered the world of broadcasting, and Darold mentored her. Here's what she had to say.
My first encounter with Darold was off-site. The first time I actually met Darold, like to touch him, I was in Cat Island with a writers group, and that was my first time speaking with Darold and telling him about my desire to one day come and work at ZNS. That was in the 1990s. I got the opportunity to come up here. First, I was in the gospel station. At that time, it was 12:40 a.m. And then I was transferred into 1540, the other station. And to go back to being with Darold, I got a shift that was 10 to 2 and working in-house for Darold Shaw as his production person. I got to meet Darold up close and personal. And we would talk, and there is a favorite scripture that both of us liked. And he said that was just like him. And it comes from the book of Micah, Micah 6 and 8. And it says, "O son of man, what does the Lord require of you? But to walk justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." And Darold said, "That's me." Because every day when he was passing, he would say, "I need a scripture." Because, he would pray, but before praying, he would do the scripture. He would use his father's Bible. Darold was the type of person who said, "Margaret, be well researched. Do not open the mic unless you have something with sense to say. Don't just talk for talking's sake." And even today, I am well researched. I'm cognizant of the fact that he said, this is a privilege to be able to speak to the nation and not to take it lightly. I would like Darold to be remembered as an altruistic person. And that's a person that would give his heart for people. And I think of Darold as someone that would give and has given his heart for the Bahamian people. He was not perfect. No one is. And I'll quote from that Bible. He always carried around with him his father's Bible, or as he talked about his dear mother. They say, if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. But if we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. I think Darold had that opportunity to confess his sins and be cleansed. So I say, rest easy, my friend, until we meet again.
And his influence was covered by and felt by people who weren't just on-air talent. For example, Jamal Moss, who was a production man, he learned a lot from Darold, too. Here's what he had to say.
I've known Darold from 2001. I remember when I came here at ZNS in the end 2000. I was a young production assistant. Persons would say very vibrant, very excited to learn, to be active in the role I was doing, whether it be on location or inside the studio. Darold came inside the radio department, and Darold was like, so who's my producer? So they pointed me. Darold did this. No, sir. And he said, I don't want little children around me. No, sir. No, sir. So that was, in his dramatic way. This big crowd. I felt very bad because I was like, this guy don't even know me. He's then dissing me, dismissing me, and I could see Mr. Forbes, who is now our current chairman, was telling Doris, no, he's a good fella, he's very sharp, and he's gonna do well with your show. Darold say no. So for some reason, then Darold say, okay, I'll work with him. But he say, if he messes up my show, I tell you now, I can call for you to get fired. So I said, oh Lord. And he said, you too. I said, oh, Jesus. So we worked together, and it was like magic. I mean, after a couple of months, me and Darold we was just like gelling. Wherever he go, I would go, being his technical producer. And one of the things I respected about Darold is that he would expect nothing but the excellence from you. You would expect you to be focused. Always, when you go on assignment, you do your job first. And I remember when we went to Farmers Key, Exuma, and I remember when I came back to Nassau, had an accident, and Darold, when he found me, he was the first one to hear about it because he was talking to one of the pilots. So he saw what happened. He, I must say I'm very thankful for Darold because Darold called everybody at ZNS, all the higher-ups, let them know what happened to me. And I was even told that Darold went on his show the next day, because we came back that Sunday, he went on the show the next day, and he was talking about it. And the person said, he shed tears and everything, so that made me feel humble, even though I couldn't see it, because I was in the hospital. And so he would always check up on me every day, believe it or not, every day. Like when he gets off the show, he'll come by the hospital, sit down with me for 1 hour or two, and hang with me. And then, other person's coming in. And so while I was in my ward, persons would ask, hey, who you with? Who you with? But you got Darold Miller coming to you? Who you with? It's just a humble fella. I said, no, boy, you got Darold Miller coming to you every day. He said, you understand? I said, no. But I really enjoyed the opportunity working with Darold. I thank God for that opportunity. Thank those who made it possible. Darold's just very humble, and he would help you in whichever way he can. He believed in young people, and if he see that you are serious about working, serious about your future, he's gonna pour into you to help you achieve new levels of professionalism, and that's one of the things I appreciate with Darold Miller.
But one of the things that Margaret Elizabeth said in particular was how he shared his heart. He always wanted to help people. He wanted to promote people. He wanted to see people live their dreams, He wasn't a dream killer now. He would do what he could to help you succeed. Your thoughts on what we just heard from those three speakers there?
Well, there was a time when Darold, as a talk show host, because I'm interested in craft stuff, and he would bring these different things like plats and soaps and stuff,
around by me and asked me what I thought of them, and I realized he was interested, and these were people like from Andrus and Exuma and so on, and he was interested in advancing whatever entrepreneurial activity these persons were involved in. I still have some of the coconut oil, that he had. I don't know where he got that stuff from, but he would always bring these things, and I think he was interested in helping others to...
All things Bahamian.
Yes.
He was a true nationalist. Carlton?
He was larger than life, really. And I recall in 2002, the Ministry of Tourism was hosting the Caribbean Tourism Conference in Grand Bahama at the Lucayan Beach Hotel. And Darold was one of the featured talents for the live coverage of it. He did his show in the morning from the hotel. And as Darold begins the show, everybody lined in front watching him as he worked. And when he was about to end his show, he had some antics that he did. And he just, and everybody came just to experience that. People would come, and after the show, he is just interacting with this one, the next one, the next, and it was just interesting to observe how a man who probably loved people more than people loved him.
That's a big point there.
Demonstrated that reciprocal sort of appreciation for not only what he brought as a talent, but the respect they had for his ability to reach the common people. And he took pride in communicating with people who were not considered affluent or who were not considered academically accomplished. He took pride in interacting with those kinds of people.
Every man's man, if you will. We're going to have to take another break, and we'll be back reflecting on the life of Darold Miller.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah.
Buy JBI.
We've come to appreciate the JBI product. Simply doesn't matter where they're staged or where they're located. We always realize that JBI has the best pricing and the best quality of food. In particular, my favorite is corned beef. I was a hometown boy. So if I can purchase anything, it can be this JBI corned beef straight through.
As you get a bit older, you become more discriminating and what you put in your bodies. And all of this is natural stuff. So I'm happy to promote the Junkanoo Punch.
I actually compared it to a couple of brands, and this is the one of choice. This one, this the can't fail brand. So.
Fried JBI.
Happy 30th anniversary, JBI.
Happy 30th anniversary to JBI.
Thank you, Bahamas.
You've got termites and need to get rid of them fast? Trust Rent-A-Kill Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rent-A-Kill Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rent-A-Kill Initial.
Welcome back. Just before he retired, the chairman, current executive chairman, Pice Will Forbes, and the general manager, Clint Watson, were in their respective chairs. And they share their memories of Darold Miller now.
My first encounter with Darold was back in 1981. I came to the corporation at about 19 years old. And the radio building was where most of the activity took place back in the day. In those days, you were walking down the corridor, and I heard this boisterous voice. And people said, that's Darold Miller. I remember Agnes saying, that's Darold Miller. I said, who that is? And he was loud, but he was so thin. I said, how could a man who's so thin have such a loud and impactful voice? And that was Darold. And from there, you know, like, who you is? You know, he asked in that kind of way, who you is? They said, Pice Will Forbes, one of the new employees here. All right, look, you might have a future here in broadcasting. He did that face thing. So I would have always known Darold from back in the way to do that face thing and also have this cut. Whenever he's typing, he had the old typewriters back in the day. He was doing this cutting and he kind of chewing his mouth in the corner. And I was wondering why he did that, but he no talking now. And you know, I tried to talk to him one day about the newspapers. In those days, you had the service coming online and the machine making all that noise, the can and all those different machines. And I tried to ask him because here I was as an inquisitive youngster.
I was working in the bank for 6 years. And I remember they had the straw market fire, and I was working in the bank at Paradise Island branch for CIBC. And it was Darold Miller's coverage that day that caused me to say to myself, you can't be doing this. You got to get into the field you studied. And after that straw market fight, I remember I was at TIBC just quitting cold turkey during that same month and saying, I'm going to follow my passion. And that's what pushed me into journalism. Otherwise, I'd have been comfortable in the bank. And so Darold pushed me. And I said, boy, I got to do this.
Darold was investigative, persistent, and he didn't bow to no political masters. There's nothing like saying a Darold Miller back in the day at a press conference. And I had just returned home from university. In those days, there was some concerns about victimization and those who had been ostracized and also those who had been peripheralized. But Darold was there, even though at that time, my good friend Papa, Right Honorable Hubert Ingham, was saying as the strong man, was not afraid to ask the tough questions. And he knew how to capture the moment. Darold would come into the room and everybody's sitting down, all the reporters are quiet, everybody kind of a little scared because they're waiting for the Prime Minister to come. And he come, good afternoon, you put your hand halfway up, and he sits down. Darold said, man, you late, man. And Darold had the face. And you said, well, how in the world could Darold say that to Hubert Ingham? Well, I'm taking care of the people's business. That's why I'm late. You have a question? And Darold popped the question. He always had this thirst for doing what he wants to do, a thirst for knowledge and doing his own thing. He asked that question that the average person didn't have the courage to ask. And so therefore he became the voice of our people. He wanted a society where everyone could participate. He wanted our people to feel involved in the process. He was a special kind of person, and we'll miss him because he brought the Family Island people, those who couldn't speak for themselves once again, the Miss Kelly and Mangrove Key, or Gordy Gray and Williamstown Exuma, or the late Bertram Brown and Black Point Exuma. He spoke for them.
So he was kind of, as a journalist for me, coming into the Saturday Night newsroom when he was on radio, somebody that I looked at from his career and said, okay, this is somebody who's bold, in your face, not afraid. So I took pages out of his book to kind of craft my career as a broadcaster.
We're going to miss him a whole lot here at the corporation. A special soul, and he was well trained by his mom. And but for the grace of God go I. He was not a perfect being, but he was a good vessel who took the Bahamas to another level through the many difficult moments in our society's growth and development.
Someone else who has some very good memories to share about his experiences with Darold Miller, Andrew Burrows.
I met Darold Miller out of very critical time in his life. I had met him casually before, but like really met him and got to know him where he knew who I was during his trial, his situation at the other radio station. And he had a stall at Arawak Key, and I used to go there occasionally, and if he was there, you know, I'd order something and then we'd sit and talk. And even then, like, you could tell the type of person that Darold was. He was trying to do everything. But we built up a rapport that lasted up until about a week before he actually died. Stanley Pinder was assigned the task of bringing Darold back to ZNS. And Stanley asked me to help in that process because he knew that I had a relationship with Darold. And also because of the arrangement that I had made with Sir Charles Carter when I was on his radio station, we were going to make a new kind of deal for Darold Miller because Darold Miller was coming back as the owner of his show, and he didn't want to be an employee. He wanted to be a partner. So we went through, talked to Darold, got Darold to come into the building, and then negotiated a contract for Darold Miller Live. And Darold trusted me to have his best interests, even though I was sitting on the opposite side of the table. So we had that kind of relationship. So I was brought in to help bring Darold back. And then in return, Darold wanted me to direct the promo that would play for his return. And I had the idea of him going to Guardian Radio and walking out of Guardian Radio and walking into ZNS. And because of his relationship with the people at Guardian Radio, many of whom were with him at Love 97, he didn't want to do that. So he decided, let's go to Bahama. It's being built. There's nothing at stake here. He can just do his thing and say the same stuff that he says. And he did it, nailed it in one take, right? But that was Darold. When Darold quit ZNS the second time, that day, it went viral. Everybody was sharing this clip of Darold Miller walking off the air. And Darold called me, well, a couple days later, and told me he quit and he needed to go to Andros and he needed some help. And he came and you know, we did what we did, and he got to Andros and did his thing. And I remember him saying he doesn't know when it's going to happen, but he wanted us to work together on something. And as fate would have it, I was asked to produce a private broadcast during the elections, and Darold would be the host. And one thing that Darold wanted was, if he was ever going to be directly involved with anything that was political, that his position was not a subject or topic, that he would be neutral in his role, and he did not want his journalistic integrity compromised, even if it was for a political party. And we kind of struck that balance. So that was the kind of relationship we had, and he trusted me. You know, I would be the voice in his ear. I would be the one telling him when to, you know, calm down or bring it down. And there were a few times when Darold kind of flew off the handle and whatnot. And me and him would talk, and I would kind of get the production back on. So that was the relationship we had. When I became his boss, after he left, to bring him back to ZNS, I drafted the contract, or helped draft the contract. I brought him back to ZNS the final time. And we had intentions to do more than just Darold Miller Live. And it was one of my regrets that I didn't get a chance to do it or to see it happen. I had created a program for Darold that we would have launched at the 50th anniversary of independence, called Darold Miller's Bahamas. Darold told me he wanted to retire from radio, but he did not want to retire from broadcasting. And between the two of us, our plan was that he would transition from doing a daily radio show to doing a documentary-style program where he traveled this country, met interesting people, and talked to them where they were in their environment. And he was really excited about that. So that was one of my regrets, that we never got the chance to actually do that, because I was no longer there to do it. And then he subsequently retired. So to lose Darold Miller in this country is to lose a big chunk of one of the people who cataloged who we are as a people. So I'm gonna miss Darold immensely. You know, right up to the week before he died, we were still in communication. We saw each other and spoke for a while, spoke for over an hour, just sitting down talking. And, you know, half of the time was him berating me about things that he knew I had no control over. But we had a good time, and that's what it always was. And he always ended it the same way. He would tell you, "I love you, brother," and that would be that. So, Darold, I love you, brother, until we meet again.
Well, as this broadcast gets close to coming to an end, we can't talk about Darold Miller and not talk about his love and passion for music and Bahamian music in particular. And you have to wonder, would Elon Moxie have been as great as he is if he didn't have Darold Miller promoting him? Here's Elon Moxie.
And now, my bestest friend from Little Harbor and Boydra, from Mars Bay and Driggs Hill, from all over the Bahamas, including West End, the best crab tickler, Elon!
It was shocking, very, very much so, yes, indeed. But I know the way Darold lived, and the type of person he was. He going home out of his misery, his pain.
Darold Miller played a significant role in helping to propel the musical career of Elon Moxie. They met in 2004 when Moxie launched what is now his biggest hit, Oh My Andros.
That encounter with Darold was like exciting because you cannot say no to Darold. He's not going to take no for an answer. So, you know, and from that day I started to get to know him. And he had a house out there in, what's the name of the place?
Gardens.
Right. So I spent some time out there with him, writing and composing. You know, he was very much instrumental in some of the concert around the Bahamas. But as far as the international, it was not Debbie Alton and Mr. Butts. They were the ones. But Darold would make sure those concerts were going here. You know, he would get me on all the shows, and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. You know. Like I say, he's a happy fella. He was always a happy fella, you know. I've never seen Darold on a sad day, not yet. Not one time I've seen him sad.
What is one of your most notable memories of Darold Miller?
What stands out about Darold's life? I recall one time I was at the airport, and he had a friend who was coming in from somewhere, or whatever. So he called me. He knew that I was at the airport going into Andros. So he said, "Cap, you got any money?" I said, "Well, a bit." He said, "I got a friend coming to you. I want you to give him something for me." So, indeed, I gave the guy $100. Cap called me back. "That's all you could give him?" I said, "Let's have a bug with me." I'll tell you fellas, you're always looking for somebody. Always want to help somebody. Always. He'll take his shit off his back and give it to you. That's the Darold Miller. I know.
That was a great friendship indeed, Elon and Darold. Now, as we get ready to close, I'm going to start with you, Mark Carlton, if you can say some final thoughts about Darold Miller as we bring Darold Miller Day at the Broadcasting Corporation to an end.
Let me first congratulate the Broadcasting Corporation for seeing the wisdom in honoring Darold in such a significant way. Darold will always be remembered as one of the greatest journalists this country has ever seen. Darold was a humanitarian, as you heard from so many people. You know, Darold was the reason that I got a promotion into executive management in the Broadcasting Corporation. Darold was the reason that Guardian Radio, that I was hired to launch, was a success. Darold Miller was more than just a colleague and a friend. Darold and I maintained our relationship up to his shocking, the shocking discovery of his unexpected passing. Darold lived for a period in Parkgate Road, and he would call me and he would say, Carlton, I need you to come by to talk, you know. But I never expected that at this juncture that I'd be saying farewell to another close friend and colleague. I will definitely miss Darold. We worked very closely together for a period of time when we both seized an opportunity to demonstrate that working collaboratively, we can challenge the established broadcast entities and become one of the more recognizable broadcast entities in this country. I'm going to miss Darold Miller.
Yeah.
He is a wonderful person.
If we can hear some words from you, please, as we prepare to say goodbye tomorrow.
Well, briefly, during this whole month, really, I've been hearing so many good things about Darold. People have said so many good things. I didn't realize that my brother was really the celebrity that he is. But what it points out to me is that people say how Darold contributed to their development. And I think people, the Bahamian people, responded to him, and that contributed to his development. So there he was, giving of himself and taking sustenance back in. And if the people of the Bahamas did not respond to him in a certain way, Darold would have never been what he was, the way you all responded to him. And I just like to say that I am just honored to say to anybody that my claim to fame is I'm Darold Miller's brother.
Well, I'll tell you this. I am grateful to Darold Miller for having faith, trust, and confidence in me. We worked together on quite a few broadcasts, and I even did sat in for him in immediate response once or twice, which was very daunting because, you know, you just got to do it your own way. You can't do it Darold Miller's way. But I will share this with everyone. The last time I saw Darold was about 2 or 3 months ago, and it was at that same business establishment he had at Arawak Key. And it was a great night. He was in great spirits. It was a lot of love, a lot of laughter, and just a happy time. And that's how I'm going to remember him. Now, this is the end of Darold Miller Day, but tomorrow is his funeral, which will be held at the Bahamas Face Ministries, and it will be broadcast live on the ZNS radio network, and we ask that you tune in. It starts at 11 o'clock. I'm Julian Reed on behalf of all of the team here at the Broadcasting Corporation. Good night.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
"60 lives lost to fatal road accidents so far this year. Speeding and reckless driving are taking a devastating toll on the Bahamas. As we approach the implementation of the new traffic laws in January 2025, there's an urgent need for change to make our roads safer. This is Road to Safety, reducing accidents and saving lives in the Bahamas. Join us as we explore practical tips for drivers, discuss the far-reaching consequences of serious accidents, and break down what the upcoming regulations mean for all road users. Keep watching. A brand new episode of You and Your Money starts now.
You and Your Money is brought to you by
Sun Oil,
Leno, CG Atlantic, Focall, and the Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Welcome to You and Your Money, everyone. Joining us today to talk about the impact of speed and why slowing down can save lives are ASP Demetria Capron and Inspector Greenslade from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Police Traffic Division. ASP Capron and Inspector Greenslade, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, ASP Capron, how significant is speeding as a factor in the recent increase in fatal accidents, and what statistics highlight its impact on road safety?
Speed is a major factor in most all accidents, but especially in the uptick in serious and fatal accidents. It just seems as though persons just love the speed. They don't leave home in a timely fashion, and so they have the speed to get where they go. Persons feel like speed thrills, but we have to understand that it also kills. And so we don't have persons that are regularly obeying the posted speed limit signs, and so it's a major factor. Almost 90% of accidents, speed is a major factor in.
Now, Inspector Greenslade, what specific tips can you provide to drivers to help them maintain the safe speeds, as well as to avoid the temptation to speed, especially on the busy or long stretches of road?
But like we always say at the Traffic Division, you want to drive to arrive alive. What that means is that being late for any particular event, job, appointment is not worth your life or potentially the life of your passengers. We also like to encourage persons to look at the reason that you're speeding. Is it because you're late for work? Whether you speed or not, you're still going to be late. Is it that you have an emergency? There's emergency medical services. You can actually even call 919 and inform the police that you have an emergency, and you will be intercepted by a police vehicle and escorted to the hospital, as we do pretty commonly. Are you trying to impress someone that's a passenger in your vehicle? Definitely not worth your life. And we'd also encourage members of the public to not only drive for themselves, but drive for the other persons. It may not be you that's injured. It may be a child that's walking across the street. It may be another motorist whose vehicle you struck, and the injuries you inflict may be fatal, and now that's something that you have to live with on your conscience for the rest of your life. So before you speed, think about the reason that you're speeding, and ask yourself, is it really worth it?
Well, definitely it's food for thought, and even having to consider the options that's available in terms of getting assistance if there's a need for an emergency. Now, ASP Capron, how does speeding affect a driver's reaction time and the severity of injuries in the event of an accident?
Speeding greatly affects a driver's reaction time because they have no time to react. The fast pace that they are going does not allow them to press brakes or to do a maneuver in order to avoid an accident. It actually increases the severity of injury, of major damage to the vehicle, increases the chances of it being a serious or fatal accident. It's simple. If you're driving slower, the impact between two vehicles will be less. But when you're speeding, it's going to be a lot of damage, it's going to be some injuries, and it's going to increase the likelihood of the severity of injuries. And that's why we're asking persons to please just simply slow down. There's no place that's that important that you have to rush to go.
Now, Inspector Greenslade, what role does the law enforcement play in monitoring speed limits, and are there any new strategies being implemented to curb the speeding on the roads?
So at the Traffic Division, we've taken a three-pronged approach in curbing the speeding problems that we've been having lately. Firstly, what we've been doing is educating the public generally You'll see us at major intersections. You'll see us at side streets, speaking with drivers, answering any questions that they may have, sometimes issuing pamphlets, and trying to inform them the best we can. Secondly, we've been going to schools. ASP Capron's been leading teams going to various government and private schools, educating the future drivers. So we're focusing on the present, we're focusing on the future, and ensuring that all Bahamian motorists understand their role as a motorist and as a member of this country. Lastly, we've been focusing on enforcement as well. Any complaints that we get in regards to a specific highway, side street, main road, anywhere that persons are making illegal U-turns or running the red light, speeding up on the amber light, or doing anything that's jeopardizing the safety of other road users, we'll address it. We do random speed checks, we do random road checks. We try not to be predictable. You will see us out sometimes at 4 a.m. in the morning, sometimes at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we're constantly on the streets, we're constantly addressing the speeding issue, showing that persons are aware of what they're doing and ensuring that they're being penalized if they're doing so, and just throwing caution to the wind.
I definitely want to commend you for, for taking the proactive approach in terms of, especially with dealing with the schools, the future road users. It's definitely commendable. Now, ASP Capron, how will the upcoming traffic law amendments address the issues related to speed, and what penalties will be introduced to deter the dangerous driving behaviors?
Well, with the new amended laws expected to take place January the 1st, 2025, it allows that if your car is not licensed and your car is not insured, that the police has the power to have your vehicle towed. Now, we know that police presence on the road automatically causes persons to slow down, put on their seatbelt. They start to automatically, if they are not already adhering to the road traffic regulations, they automatically start to do that with the police presence on the road. And so we know that in January, when persons will now see the tow truck on the road and they see the police officers, they will not want their vehicle to be towed, and so that is going to help us tremendously in having persons to slow down on the road, and this will help reduce accidents. This will help reduce persons getting their tickets or getting cited for the various offenses.
Well, ASP Demetri Capron and Inspector Christoph Greenslade, we have to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to look at understanding the consequences, the aftermath of serious accidents. This is You and Your Money. We'll be right back.
Kids, let's go! Sean, what are you doing?
I solved it. We'll buy our life insurance policy from this company and then go over here and get our home insurance. Then get our motor policy from right over here.
Or we could just get it all with CG Atlantic. Save a lot of money and effort.
They do it all? Even pensions?
Even pensions.
We're like a husband that doesn't overcomplicate everything. CG Atlantic. Good like that.
Focall Holdings Limited is proud of its consistent growth and the financial success it continues to bring to many Bahamians who invest in the company. Focall is committed to ensuring optimal financial performance for its shareholders. Focall's leadership remains focused on superior customer service and operational excellence across all sectors. Focall, fueling growth for people.
Hi, Kevin. How can I help you?
Is it true this institution isn't doing too well? Should I move my money since I have a business and personal savings account?
Don't worry about the gossip. Banks are regulated, so the chances of this institution failing is slim, and your deposit accounts are protected. We are members of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, so your deposits are protected up to a maximum of $50,000.
What if I have more? My business account has a little over $100,000 in it. Will I get my remaining funds if the bank fails?
Yes, through the process of liquidation, which is when the bank's assets are sold over time to repay its creditors, like yourself.
Well, I learned something new today.
My advice is to diversify your financial portfolio across different account types, different member banks, and credit unions. Help us to protect you by protecting yourself.
To learn more, visit our website, dic.bs, for more information.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance. Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Don't take a chance. Put it in our hands at Shield Insurance.
Welcome back to You and Your Money, everyone. In this segment, we're going to be having the conversation with ASB Capron and Inspector Greenslade, and we're talking about understanding the consequences, the aftermath of serious accidents. Now, ASB Capron, what are some of the most common long-term effects that serious accidents have on victims as well as their families, particularly in terms of physical recovery and financial stability?
Okay, so I want to break that down into two different parts. The first part is automatically from your in an accident, there is damage to your vehicle. And so your vehicle is down. It may take some time to get the police report. That's provided that the person, if you're in the right or the wrong of the accident, if it takes a while for the insurance to kick in. So you're out of a vehicle. You have no way to get to work. That's if there's no injury involved in the accident. There's no way to get to work. There's no way to get your children back and forth to school, to get to the simple things that you need to do. Just simply go into the food store. Everything is an inconvenience because your vehicle is down. Then now we move on to the injury part of it. Any amount of injury keeps you out of work. And sometimes when you're out of work, you're not getting paid. And so that's a financial strain on your family who is accustomed to a certain standard of life. And so that's just a broken leg. A broken leg could have you off anywhere from 6 to 9 months. But even more serious injury, now your family has to now come in and take care of you with limited funds because your funds are limited, with no ride to get you back and forth to the doctor until either the vehicle is fixed, repaired, or replaced. And so these are some of the common long-term. And so that's why we're asking persons to drive for yourself and also drive for other road users, because sometimes you may have the right of way, but the time it takes to get your vehicle repaired or to get your family back on their feet financially, it sometimes is simply not worth it.
Now, Inspector Greenslade, how can a lack of insurance coverage worsen the impact of a serious accident, and what steps can motorists take to ensure that they have adequate coverage?
So it can worsen the effects for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's actually unlawful to drive without valid insurance, at least third-party insurance coverage. And therefore, if you're involved in an accident, it's found that you did not have third-party coverage or greater, you can actually be charged with driving a motor vehicle while not being covered under insurance. So you get an additional charge after the accident on top of driving out due care and attention or dangerous and reckless driving or whatever other charge there was if you were found at fault for that accident. Also, in regards to finances, it's going to cause much more of a financial burden on the driver because let's say you're not paying attention, you're texting on your phone, and in stop-and-go traffic, you rear-end a Chevy Suburban that happens to be a livery vehicle. No insurance to cover, you may find yourself spending now $70,000 or more, depending on the year that vehicle is, the quality of the vehicle, where it was purchased from, the quotes. So you may find yourself in a deep financial hole. It's also the inconvenience of not having a vehicle at that time. You may find yourself paying for that person to be renting a vehicle or potentially paying for the person that you struck to be driving an SD. And in the time that it takes that vehicle to be fixed, you can find yourself paying 3, 4, 5 months worth of SD bills or going to court and being forced to pay compensation to that person. So not being covered by insurance leaves you in a really bad spot financially, in view of the law. And it's definitely very important for persons to ensure that their vehicle is covered, at least with third-party insurance. We have a great number of insurance companies here in Nassau, Bahamas. You can call around, you can drive around, you can find the different prices, the different packages that are offered. In my experience, the insurance agents have been very, very helpful. Persons that are unaware, you can sit down and simply have a conversation with a person. They'll educate you as to exactly what may be the best coverage for you, the basic packages that they have, and what they all have to offer. So there's absolutely no excuse. If you're driving a motor vehicle, you need to be insured.
Well, that's simply put. Now, ASB Capron, what resources or support systems are available for individuals who experience significant life changes to a serious road accident, such as loss of mobility or income?
Well, the government has made provisions in terms of when persons are injured, they receive medical care at the Princess Margaret Hospital. There are also out clinics in all of the different communities for persons who need, let's say, counseling, because the effects of an accident don't stop on the accident scene. It may not even stop to an injury standpoint, but some things persons need to speak about, especially if their quality of life has changed with an injury. And so we have counselors at the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center. The government allows for psychologists available to persons that need to talk, and they, simply would not have to come up with funds out of their pocket.
Now, Inspector Greenslade, can you share some real-life examples on how road accidents have affected individuals' abilities to provide for their families, and what lessons can be learned from these cases?
So persons involved in traffic accidents will find themselves in a number of issues after the accidents occurred. Physically, mentally, financially, socially, because it's embarrassing for persons involved in an accident to be sitting on an accident scene and having persons pass by in a small community like ours. It's financially strenuous, particularly if you're at fault for the accident, and as I spoke about earlier, without insurance, to now have to pay out of pocket. There are also a lot of Bahamian persons that they rely on their physicality to make money on a daily basis. Not everyone has a government job or a particular contract. There are some persons that work with their hands, the skilled workers, there's laborers that are required to provide a physical service on a daily basis. And so if you receive injury from an accident and it makes you incapable of showing up to work and performing the tasks that you get paid to do, particularly if you're the sole breadwinner for the home, then not just you, but now your entire family is going to feel the repercussions of that. If you're the only person paying a school fee and now your physical injury has limited your ability to work the amount of hours that you usually work or allow you to just put bread on the table for your family, then definitely there's going to be some fallout as a result of that.
Well, ASB Demetria Capron and Inspector Greenslade, we have to take another break. And when we return, we're going to talk about preparing for change, navigating the new traffic laws and safety regulations. This is You and Your Money. We'll be right back.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance. Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Don't take a chance. Put it in our hands at Shield Insurance.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Man, I thought retirement would have slowed you down.
It's the island life, son. Living in paradise.
Must be nice. Can't wait until it's my turn, if that day ever comes.
My financial planner has provided me with solutions for my future. Pension, retirement, and even property management.
So who helped you with all this?
Let's go, son. 2 more miles.
What's Leno?
Remind me to renew my insurance before I leave.
Just do it online with CG. Remember when my week-long vacation became a month-long excursion? Yeah, we ended up stuck in Saskatchewan, and I lived off the land for a month. Turns out I'm a natural born ice fisher. Anyway, I renewed my insurance online. You never know.
An online portal that's convenient and simple. CG Atlantic. Good like that.
Well, welcome back to You and Your Money. ASB Capron and Inspector Greenslade from the Royal Bahamas Police Force, they're still here with us. In this segment, I want us to talk about preparing for change, navigating the new traffic laws and safety regulations. ASP Capron, what are the key changes in the new traffic laws taking effect on January 1st, 2025, and how will they impact motorists in the road safety aspect in the Bahamas?
There are a lot of changes to be made in this that are going to take effect in this new amended law. Now, one thing that I do want to highlight is there's that in this amended law, once you have sometimes when you go to the insurance company, not everyone can afford to pay all of the insurance fees up front. And so the insurance allows for you to do a payment plan, maybe pay half, and then over a monthly period, you continue to pay. But when persons do not continue to meet that obligation, the insurers have the right to cancel your policy once you have not met just your part of it by continuing your payments. And so the insurance company now has an obligation to inform the road traffic department that your insurance is canceled, and the road traffic department has an obligation to inform the commissioner of police. And so one of the things that comes out of that in the amended laws is that if the insurance company does not inform the road traffic, the insurance company is liable to a fine of up to no less than $5,000. If a person, knowing that their insurance policy, because they're riding around, they already have the policy with them, and they produce it, let's say they're involved in an accident, they produce this insurance certificate, or they produce it during a traffic check to avoid getting a ticket, knowing that the policy has been canceled, they are liable to a fine no less than $2,500. Another amendment is if a person is driving on the road, they're stopped by the police, their car is not licensed and insured, as we mentioned before, it gives the police the automatic right to have your vehicle towed. Your vehicle will be towed to a compound. The penalty for not having your vehicle license is $250. Not having it insured is $250. So it's $500. Your vehicle will be towed. You have to pay a towing fee somewhere around $150. So now we're to $650. And then the law allows that only the commissioner can release that vehicle, and you have to pay a fine of $300 on top of that. So we're to almost $1,000, when in actuality, a mature driver can get third-party risk insurance for about $350, and to license it is $195. So you're less than about $550, as opposed to paying almost $1,000. And if you still do not get your vehicle right for the road, next week you may end up paying the $1,000 again. So these are some of the things that we want persons to keep in mind moving forward into this new amended law, January the 1st, 2025.
Now, Inspector Greenslade, how will It's a Traffic Affairs Symposium help to educate the public and stakeholders about the upcoming amendments, and what can attendees expect to learn?
So the upcoming symposium is going to be held on the 27th of November between the hours of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Police College. It's going to be open to all members of the public, and present will be members of the Road Traffic Department, the Motor Vehicle Training School, the various insurance companies will have agents in place, and person can come there to receive any level of education as it relates to motorists in general. And they can spend the entire day, they can ask the questions that they'd like. They'll have the relevant personnel and authority, and any queries, comments, suggestions that they might have will be well received. What we're looking to do is to truly partnership with the citizens of the Bahamas. We're noticing that no law enforcement worldwide is of any value without the support of the public. And so what we like to achieve is that we're going to educate Bahamians not only on the traffic laws and their responsibility as drivers, but also the power that each Bahamian citizen has. The average Bahamian citizen does not realize how much they can change the community by simply passing relevant information, in some cases making a complaint, and in other cases just making law enforcement aware. If you notice that a traffic light is out, that's something you should report that could prevent an accident. If you notice drivers on a particular intersection constantly running the light, constantly making U-turns, constantly doing something adverse or contrary to the law, that's something to report. If you notice a driver driving in a very dangerous and reckless manner, endangering the general public, you can record their license plate, contact the police. If you notice that there's a particular intersection where persons are just genuinely confused as to whether or not the street merges from the right, merges from the left, Potentially the markings or striping in the street may have faded due to the elements. There may not be a sign posted because some unscrupulous person may have removed it. Maybe some natural disaster may have caused it to be damaged. Maybe some accident may have caused it to be damaged. But these are the things that you, as a member of the public, can report to the relevant authorities that may cause another person's life to be saved, and that will actually just enable traffic to flow more smoothly, which we would all like in this great city of Nassau, and will benefit all Bahamian citizens. So if the average Bahamian citizen was aware of the power that they had, and we can form a partnership where you call us with any questions, comments, concerns you may have, I think we'll be a lot better off in general.
Well, I know one of the things that has been something that came about in recent times, which is the left turn with the light being on red. Can we just give some clarity around what that looks like? Because I think some persons are still confused with what to do and when to do it.
Right. So there's no left turn unless there's a sign posted that's allowing you to do so. So you'll notice on University Drive and University Commons, that intersection right where the old road traffic was, there's going to be a sign posted that allows you to turn left on a red light. However, you must, of course, give way to traffic that has the green or has priority at that time. There's no other intersection that you can simply take it upon yourself to do that. If you see a sign posted, you're allowed to do so. Otherwise, please just remain stationary, wait for the traffic light to turn green, or wait for a turning light to indicate that you were able to turn. But you're not just able to freely turn left at any intersection as long as the way is clear. That's not correct.
All right, thank you for that clarity. Now, ASP Capron, in what ways are the new traffic regulations expected to reduce accidents and fatalities? And what are some of the enforcement strategies planned to ensure compliance?
At the traffic division, we do operations almost on a daily basis. There is no day that passes that we are not on the road safeguarding members of the public, because once we have our presence there, we are actually safeguarding members of the public, drivers, the pedestrians, the motorcyclists. And so the operations will continue. It will not stop. In fact, it will increase, especially coming into these Christmas months coming up ahead. We know that towards the end of the year, a lot more persons doing a lot of hustle and bustle trying to purchase Christmas gifts and the likes of it. And so for that, you're going to see an increased presence of the traffic division out there conducting operations. Operations will continue. The amended traffic laws, as we said, while it will help to reduce serious and fatal accidents, it will ensure that a lot more persons get their vehicles licensed and insured. And that insurance will be a safety net for once persons are involved in an accident. And if there are injuries, serious, minor, or fatal accident, a fatality comes out of it, to ensure that persons can be properly compensated and you do not have to dig in your pocket to go and fund these things.
Now, one of the things that we talked about the education and as well as the upcoming symposium, but is there anywhere that persons from the public can actually access information or educational material that can help them to be informed about road safety?
Yes, there is. They can visit the Royal Bahamas Police Force's page. We have pamphlets of safety tips, safety flyers, safety tips to reduce serious and fatal accidents, possible reasons for hit and run accidents, just safe general tips, driving tips in general. We have those on the Royal Bahamas Police Force page. They can visit the traffic division and they can collect a hard copy of it so that everyone gets the message of traffic safety in the Bahamas.
Well, ASP Capron and Inspector Greenslade, I just wanted to thank you for giving me an opportunity to be on the show, or you being on the show with me here today. Now, is there anything that you would want to add before we end the show for today?
Yes, one thing I'd like to add is to encourage all motorists, and that's both the drivers of motor vehicles as well as the riders of motorcycles. Please keep your documentation with you. Upon request from the police, you should be able to produce your valid driver's license, your proof of insurance, and your certificate of title or some form of ownership for that vehicle. It's unacceptable for the police to stop you and your response to be, I don't have it on me, or it's home. Because in that moment, you need to verify that you are legally in possession of that vehicle. But please keep your documents on you. Motorcyclists, wear your helmets. And let's all try to look out for one another, be our brother's keepers as we traverse the streets.
Well, ASP Capron and Inspector Greenslade, thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you. It's our pleasure being here.
The upcoming traffic law amendments aim to create safer roads and reduce fatalities. Compliance will benefit everyone, in the long run. That's it for today's show. Don't forget to follow You and Your Money on Facebook and tune in next week for a brand new episode. I'm Ria Christina. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
At Darold 1, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
Previously on Saints and Sinners.
Not even a real clinic.
We're only interested in one type of procedure.
Kareem, what is he doing?
What are we moving?
We're selling organs to the highest bidder, baby.
Get out of the vehicle! You're under arrest for illegal organ trafficking.
God answered my prayers.
It's my son, too.
You are awaiting trial for murder. You're not fit to be his father.
I didn't do it, Tamra.
I've been waiting down here for about an hour.
I am worth the wait.
I know you need a job, and I know I'm offering you one. You better hold on to that smile as long as you can. I'ma smack it right off your punk face. Look at me. You killed your brother, Felicia.
Rex, I don't know what game you're trying to play.
There are no games, Felicia. Let's look at it again.
No, I'm not Ella. You're trying to mess with my head.
Felicia, it's just the truth.
Malik, sorry. Malik, come on. Oh.
Don't be stupid. I already made a copy.
Help me. Call 911. Police.
Tamara? You left all your shares to Tamara. I gave up Search 10 years of my life. And you kicked me out. Why, Malik? Why? You don't even know her!
Felicia, no!
Malik. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Wake up. I'm sorry. Hold on. Rex, help me, please. Help me. Please. How'd you get this?
You call me. I'm your knight in shining armor.
Malik, come on. Malik.
Down, lift your hands, give God the praise. I felt so hard, lost my faith in God. I couldn't even pray. So I said, when just saved by grace.
It's time to grow your church. Time to extend your message to all the islands in the Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and to the world via the ZNS app and website. It's time to broadcast your church's services on ZNS TV. To help you with that, ZNS has some exciting new packages with very good prices. It's time to call 502-3813 for details.
Did you know that if a fire starts in your home, you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape? Keep your family and home safe with these few fire safety preparation and prevention tips. ensure that your home has working smoke detectors. They will alert you if there is smoke and fire in your home. Install a smoke detector on every level of your home, inside each bedroom and outside each sleeping area. Test smoke detectors every month and change the batteries every 6 months. Home fires can spread rapidly and every second counts. Create an escape plan and practice it with everyone in your home. Make sure everyone can safely escape in less than 2 minutes. Keep escape routes as clutter-free as possible so no one trips or falls on the way out during an emergency. In addition to smoke detectors, fire extinguishers is an important device to have on hand. To use a fire extinguisher, remember the acronym PASS. Pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side at the base of the fire. We must all do our parts to ensure that our families and homes are safe in the event a fire occurs. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Fire Services, and all officers of the Fire Department, let's work together to help prevent fires, because fire safety is everyone's responsibility, and the life you save may be your own.
Whoa.
Diamond's our girl's best friend.
Oh, no.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
Sis, I know when I see it.
Okay. So when are you gonna ask her?
At the baby shower. I mean, I figured that's the perfect place since everybody we care about would be there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. That's pretty.
Wow. May I see this one, please? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Wow.
It's beautiful.
I know. And I know she would love this one.
Any woman would love this one.
I'm telling you.
Okay. It's so beautiful.
Do you have anything similar with a few less zeros?
I'll see what I can find for you.
Kendrick, I don't think you're going to be able to find something in your price range as beautiful as that one.
Yeah, but I can't afford to go into debt for the rest of my life over a ring. For me, it's the love that matters. I don't know.
Get the ring.
I can't.
Excuse me, miss. Mm-hmm.
What?
He will be buying that ring.
Of course.
Where'd you get that kind of money from? I can't. What?
Can I just be happy for you?
But sis, it's gonna take me an eternity to pay you back.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not asking you to. We're family. I want to help. Money comes and goes.
But I know with cash like that, that usually comes with interest. So I'm just saying, just be careful, okay?
Yeah, I am.
So why didn't you go to the cops?
Why would I snitch on you when I could collect on a favor? Read this.
Oh, my God.
That's all we need. Seems Malik was full of confessions.
What do you want?
I want us to help each other.
No, you want me to help you.
Don't you want payback?
Payback?
Yeah.
I killed my brother.
It was an accident. Besides, Malik ain't no angel. He kicked you out of Upsurge like you were nothing. And now, Victor is grooming Ella to take over as CEO.
Ella? What in the hell does Ella have to do with Upsurge?
Ella is your sister.
How?
Victor is her father. And he never told you.
Classic. He never tells me anything, just like Malik. Another addition to the litter, trying to take my CEO seat.
That's your seat, you know it.
I know. But if this truth comes out, I don't think I'll be able to handle it.
It ain't gonna come out. I'm the only one who knows. Do you want to stay here and keep hitting the bottle, running away from your problems? Or do you want to come back to Cyprus and take what belongs to you?
What's in it for you?
Listen, I'll keep your secret, just like I have. But I need one thing from you.
How is he? What are you doing here? The hospital called me. For what? So you can finish the job? What are you talking about? You know who did this. You know that it was Victor. No, it was... You were the one who got him so hyped up with your lies about Miles. Lies? Yes, lies. And now Miles is in there fighting for his life. He could die, Tamara. Well, at least he has you here to protect him. Just leave. No, tell me, Josie, how long have you been protecting Miles? Get your hands off of me, Tamara. Was it before we got married? After? When I was pregnant with our child. You know what? You don't get to do this. You don't get to come in here and check me. I was the one who told you to fight for your marriage. Yeah, while you were sleeping with him. That is not true. You were the one who threw your marriage away. You were the one who tried to marry Malik before the ink was even dry on your divorce papers. Yeah, and you were so sad about that, right? You were there for Miles, my friend, my sister, giving my husband a shoulder to cry on. But you gave him so much more than that. I gave him what he needed when you threw him out like the trash. And you picked it right up. Whatever. I loved you. And I trusted you with my child and with my husband. Miles is not your husband anymore. Just leave, Tamara.
What do you want, Rex? It's in the middle of the night. Oh, no. It is too late for that. I don't want anything from you.
Would you open it, please? Consider this a peace offering. I took your advice, and I'm moving on.
You don't think I know what you're doing, huh? Slashing tires, making threats. You're trying to turn my father against me, make him think that I can't handle you.
You can't handle me. And you really think Victor is gonna make you CEO? Or is he dangling a carrot to make you do what he wants?
He's not dangling anything. He already called the board. There's a meeting Monday, and he's making plans to announce my appointment.
Really? Well, I wouldn't make up those business cards just yet if I were you. But you can keep the pen. You have a good night, Ella Mae.
The internet is an essential tool for children and adults. It can be used to research school reports, communicate with teachers, and play interactive games. But online access also comes with risks, such as inappropriate content, cyberbullying, and online predators. Here are a few safety tips to help keep you and your children safe. Do not post too much personal information such as home addresses and phone numbers. Keep your privacy settings on and practice safe browsing to ensure children don't go on any inappropriate sites. Be careful about posting pictures or your whereabouts when going on vacation. Always know your child's passwords for email addresses and social media sites. Be sure to have your house computer in a common area where it can be easily monitored. Have conversations with them to make sure they aren't scheduling meetups with new people. Online safety is just as important for children as it is for adults. Not only are children more vulnerable to financial and identity scams, but they are also at risk of encountering inappropriate and potentially disturbing content. I am Police Cadet 80 Jamara Rule, reminding you that safety is everybody's business. So let us do our part and continue to create safer communities.
Surge is announcing a new CEO.
What? That was fast.
Yeah, it was. Malik's body isn't even cold yet. You know, that Victor, he's a piece of work.
Where did you hear this? Levi?
No. And I can't tell you my source, but we gotta move fast on this.
Okay, call Anita. She can run it.
No, you should do it.
Me?
Yeah, look, you already know the information. We need a fresh face on the news, and this will be the perfect story for you to get your toes wet.
No, this story should go to someone more seasoned.
You can do this. You believed I could be a CEO. I know you could be a reporter.